Okay, Stampers, this is Kate with Kate's Creations, and it is May, pumpkin pot time. Pumpkin, I'll try that again. Hi, Stampers, this is Kate with Kate's Creations, and it's time for Paper Pumpkin May 2022 alternatives. And I have a couple of them that I'm going to do in today's video, but I have to ask, and I would love to hear your comments. Why do you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin? Some people subscribe because they want that full kit in every month and they want to just make something and have some fun, and they don't want to have to go buy a bunch of stuff to make it happen. That's really cool. Some buy it just for the challenge of trying to make something different from what they get. One thing for certain, if you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, you are not going to like every single kit that comes. Some of them are going to be just super fantastic. Some of them are you're going to go, what am I going to do with this? And that is why some of us offer alternative options, so that if you get a kit that you just don't know what you're going to use it for, or you just don't care for how it's put together, what it looks like, because we all have different tastes, don't we? And because of that, there's no way that every kit every month is going to please everybody, right? So if you're a subscriber, or even if you're not, if you're thinking about subscribing, I just want to be honest and upfront with you. I would love to have you subscribe with me. I make alternatives every month. I don't actually typically make the kit as it comes, because I want to help those who subscribe realize that there are different ways to use the kit than just the way it's prescribed, okay? Because my tastes are different than your tastes. Some of you are not going to like my alternatives. Some of you are going to go, whoa, that's really cool. I understand that. I love to hear from you in any case. So make me a comment. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you'd like to see maybe more of it in regards to the kits. I try to stay as true to the kit as I can, but you know, sometimes there's just no way that's going to happen. And I'm afraid that maybe today is one of those, okay? I do have other videos up that tell basics that you need if you're going to make alternatives with your kits when they come. You're going to need some basic white thick for card bases. You're going to need some adhesives. You're going to need some inks of different colors. Be sure and save all those little ink spots. They add up after a while, and you end up with a full repertoire of colors that you can mix and match and use when you make alternatives for your kits. So, you know, save those kits, save those sentiments. Go back to past kits. I've done that before, where I've used past kits to step up a current kit because it didn't have what I needed. So, you know, be imaginative, be creative, and be challenged, okay? So here's today. Right now I have 2 cards I'm going to make, and I'll probably make more, but this is enough to do for one video, okay? What I started with is I took an envelope like this, and I'm going to cut it open. Now, I also have envelopes on hand, and so I can cut these envelopes apart, and then I've still got envelopes that I can use for the cards when they're finished. That's another thing that you might want to purchase at some point, is just a box of cards from Stampin' Up. Okay, which I have and have available. I use an X-Acto knife. I set it in here just on the side and just very carefully cut down the side like this. And then I'm going to turn it over and get it started and cut down the side again. Just very carefully and easily. Hold your blade straight. You don't want to gouge your colored part. And there's your envelope, all opened up, ready to use. Okay, now I'm going to cut this one down. I'm going to cut the envelope flap off, and I'm going to go just below the crease mark that's in there, so it won't show on the piece I'm using. And we're going to set that aside because I have a feeling you're going to be seeing an alternative using that. Then I'm going to go this way, and I need this to be, I'm going to make it as wide as I can make it. And you'll see why, because you're going to see how we're going to make it. I haven't shown you the actual cards yet. I'm not going to keep this. You could use it for stamping on little extras onto or whatever, but I'm not. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. These are the 2 cards I'm making. Okay, and I'm using this card from the kit, and I didn't really like this. I don't know why, but anyway, what I decided to do to make it different was to take the largest stitched rectangle die, and I am going to put it on here and cut out that center. And just got to be a little bit careful lining it up. Once you get it in place, I would suggest that you use good old-fashioned washi tape, which I buy on sale somewhere, so I've got a roll or 2 here and there. And we're going to attach it so that it can't get away and move once I've got it where I want it. And then I'm going to double check. And it's not looking too bad. I'm thinking I'm going to want to move it just a little bit more that way. And you can take your time because you can stick it in place, and this washi tape isn't permanent. Now I got to go off screen for a minute, and I'm going to obviously open this up so I'm only cutting out the front. And I'm going to run it through my Stampin' Cut emboss machine. And it's going to make a horrible clunking sound, so be prepared for that. Okay. And then we'll take off the washi tape very carefully. I stick this up on a light I have here in my table, and this is kind of tricky. If you've used these dies at all, they are a little bit tricky to come apart. They have a hard time letting go of the paper, so you just got to be a little bit careful when you do it. So I'm going to just take my time here and work the stitching loose, because that stitching makes it delicate. And then this paper on these cards doesn't seem to be as thick as we usually get this time. I'm not sure why, but it's okay. We can make it work. So that leaves this frame. And that looks really nice, doesn't it? And then it also leaves, once I get it to let go. Now I could have just done this without cutting this out. But then I wouldn't have had that lovely stitched edge and stuff. And so I'm glad I did it. It looks really cool. Okay, so we have this. We're going to save this and use it on another card. And we have this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue, and I use my Zig 2-way glue pin, and I'm going to put glue all the way around that, and then I'm going to set this in here and close it on it and stick it in place, okay? And the reason I'm putting it in here and closing it is because then I know it will close nicely when I'm all done. Sometimes if you get too close to the corner, the folding corner with paper, it binds and then you get a wrinkle and it just doesn't look good. So that's why I'm putting it inside to close it over. And I'm just going to put this is a squeeze pin, so you have to squeeze and press. I love these. They work perfect. They're fine pointed. They go where I want them. They're my go-to liquid glue pin. They're not Stampin' Up, but I'm sorry. Sometimes I just need something to work better than what they have. Okay, so now I just want to make sure that this gets blue all the way around. Now it's bigger. It's bigger than what I need. I'm going to be cutting it down. We're going to turn that over and just hold that in place and let it get good and stuck. Put my cap on that. Okay. Make sure it's getting stuck. It still needs to wait a minute. That's the only thing. This glue does take a little bit of time to dry, but it will. And then, like I said, it's a little bit larger than what we need. Now you can take some scissors and cut that off. Just run it around like this. You could also use that X-Acto knife and trim it if that works better for you. I kind of hold my scissors at a little bit of an angle. That gets that cut to go kind of just slightly underneath the edging that I'm cutting, which is what I want it to do. And then we've got a little bit to cut off down here. And like I said, it seems like this cardstock is just a little bit lighter weight than I'm used to, so it seems a little bit flimsy. And then, of course, when I cut the center out, it feels even more flimsy. So, so we're going to stiffen it up a little bit when we put things on, and that will make it work just fine. And like I say, an X-Acto knife might even be better because you could probably get a lot closer to the edge than you can with scissors typically. But I think it's going to be okay. We'll get it trimmed up. It worked on the first one, and I think it'll work on this one. Okay, we'll get those out of the way. And we'll close it back up and make sure it's still sticking good. So there's my basic card part. And then we're going to put this on here like this. And my husband just got home, so if he comes in and makes a lot of racket, you'll just have to forgive me for that, because I usually shut my door so he knows I'm recording, but I didn't do it because he wasn't home. But if he comes in and makes noise, that's what you'll hear in there. So I'm just going to put some glue on there and then put this on here kind of at an angle, just like that. Okay. Then in the kit, they have these cool little pockets that you can make, and for putting a gift card in, I think is the intention. I don't give a lot of gift cards away, really, but that's okay. You could still do that. And then they put two-sided tape in the kit, and I'm going to be using that to tape down these edges. And so you put it on. If you haven't used this before, you put it on and then stick it down really good, and then peel off the other part, the backing, just like double-sided adhesive or anything like that. You want to be sure and get clear to the end of this piece so that it'll stick down really, really good. And so we'll get that on there like that. And there we go. And then, like I say, you peel it up. I use a pokey tool. This is my pick tool, my pick tool that I use. It came from my from a Cricut tool set, and I really like it. So it kind of becomes my go-to pick tool. And one of the ladies at my crafting class called it a pokey tool, and it's been affectionately known as a pokey tool ever since. Okay, and then we're going to just stick that down on here. Let's make sure we get that should be good. Okay, so then we're sticking that on there. Then I cut a piece of white, and I had there's several cards in the kit that are just plain white, and you could use some of that. I'm going to just use a piece of my basic white, and I cut that 2 1/8 by, what did I cut it? I think that's, get my ruler out because I honestly can't remember. Oh, here we go. Let me measure what I had in there. By 3, that's what it was. Okay. 2 1/8 by 3, because I'm just going to create a card that's going to go in that pocket. And I'm going to be using a happy birthday from, find it here on all my stuff, from Go To Greetings. It's a new stamp set in the current annual catalog, and it's got greetings from in 3 different sizes of various greetings. This is it here. And so I'm just using one of the happy birthdays from this. It's an awesome kit. It would be a keeper kit for sure. Okay, and then this is the new, all of these cards are utilizing the new in colors that are new this year. And this is the Starry Sky blue. And I am going to create a little card for inside like this. Now this happy birthday is all in one line. So I'm going to start by coloring the happy. And I'm just going to use the marker. And I lay it on its side, turn it over, and I lay the marker kind of on its side using the brush end, and just gently brush over all your letters till you've got them well covered. And then make sure it's clean, really good and clean before you start. And then I may stick my head in here, I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna put it right there. There's the happy. Then I'm gonna clean that up because I don't want that to print the next time. Then I'm going to stamp it on here till I know it's not leaving any marks behind. And I'm going to do the same thing with the birthday. Sometimes we forget we can do this. We don't have to always. Something else I've done in the past, and you've probably seen me do it if you follow me at all, is I've been known to cut stamps in half because I wanted them to be different than just straight across. Okay, now I'm going to put the birthday on there, and I'm going to kind of offset it just a little bit. And that'll be fine. So there's the happy birthday from the Go-To Greetings. Then in the Peaceful Moments stamp set, there is a nice little greeting that says, wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. And I'm going to stamp that with the Starry Sky as well, right below that. And I'm really not too panicked about it being perfectly square. And then this is going to just tuck right in here. Just like that. And this corner will stick out so they know that they need to pull it out. And so they'll have that lovely happy, but then they can pull it out. And you have a special greeting. And then you still have the inside that you can write other things in if you're sending them a lengthy message or whatever. So that's kind of cool. So there's card number 1. Then I took this piece that I just cut out of that other card. Let me close up a couple of ink pens here. I have a tendency to get ink where I don't want it if I'm not careful. So there we go. So then I took this and I go, that's really cool. And in the kit, one of the things they did is they just put this over this on the regular card. You know what I mean? The full-sized front of the card. Well, I'm taking it apart and I'm going to still do that. I'm still going to cover this with this, but now I have this lovely little stitched edge, and so I'm really pleased with that. I'm going to go ahead and put this on, and again, I'm bringing in my Zig pin because I want it to sit well, so I'm coming up kind of next to the edges here of the window that's going to cover up the, now if you wanted to, you could have I could have brought in just my Stampin' Seal and put on this larger portion here, but I'm just going to keep going. It'll work just fine to do it with this glue pin. And we'll get that in here. And I'm not much into perfection there, so that'll work. Now this slightly goes over the edges, so you kind of got to eyeball it as you set it down. You've got room for some wiggle room, I should say. So I'm going to do it just like that. That'll be good. And when I lift it up, you can see it's a little wider, but that's okay. It's still going to fit on the card just fine. Then I cut a piece of this new color, and this color is the Sweet Sorbet. Very, very pretty. And in my bone folder. So I cut a piece of Sweet Sorbet for the base card, 5.5 by 8.5. And now I am going to, this is going to get attached here. Before I do that, I'm going to stamp my words. Now from that Go-To Greetings, I have a nice, lovely, large happy birthday. And I'm going to stamp it with the Sweet Sorbet. So this is kind of becoming a monochromatic, but the gold sure adds a lot to it. Make sure I don't have any edges. And I'm going to put this on here. Now I'm kind of bringing it down because I need to be able to see. So I'll put it back up after I get it on there. There's the happy birthday. Now I needed a 2. I wanted a 2 right there. I don't have any 2 stamps, T-O stamps, but I did have this one from... Oh, I don't remember what set I got this from. Oh, from Waves of Inspiration. It's in that stamp set. It says, "You are so totally awesome." So there's my 2 that I'm going to use. And I'm going to use the marker again. And I've already made sure my stamp was totally clean. And I'm just going to color those 2 letters. Just like that. You've got a little while. It's not going to dry that fast. And then I'm just going to stamp my 2 just like that. So then I have a 2. And then this is going to just go on with Stampin' Seal. Just like this. And it leaves a little bit of an edge. So you got to kind of just eyeball that. Make sure it's kind of even and square. That looks good right there. Stick it down, and there is card number 2. So, a little bit different, using some of the kit, but changing it up just a little bit. There's card number 2. So card number 1 and card number 2. I hope you enjoyed today's video. I do look forward to seeing your comments about why you subscribe, or why you would even consider subscribing, or maybe why you don't, but you're just curious as to what we're doing out here with all those paper pumpkin kits. Love to hear from you. Thanks for stopping by.